All right, for the marinade, you need 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, 3.5 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2.5 teaspoons or tablespoons of toasted sesame seed oil, 2 teaspoons of grated ginger, a 1/4 teaspoon of cracked black pepper, preferably fresh cracked black pepper, 2 teaspoons of chopped garlic, and then you'll need your flank or skirt steak, and that's about 1.5 pounds. First thing you want to do is go ahead and get just a Ziploc bag. You'll do this at the very first. You want to get this marinated for at least 45 minutes. So your brown sugar, your soy sauce, sesame seed oil, get that all into a Ziploc bag. Then your ginger, okay. Cut off the ends, and then just cut it thin. Even if you give it a rough chop, that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect cut. Just like that. Get that into the bag. And then the garlic, you'll probably use chopped garlic already. Just take off the skins. Take off the ends. And just a rough chop. Just like that. Into the bag. And you have then finally your black pepper. So preferably, you definitely want to use fresh cracked black pepper, but you can use regular black. And there's your marinade. Give it a nice little mix. Okay, and the beef, you're going to go ahead and place it into the marinade. Here I have a flat iron steak. You guys will be using a skirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually butterfly this so that it's nice and thin. So I'll just start at one end and just butterfly it. And do the other end. And there you go, so it's nice and thin. Then this gets placed into the marinade, and you guys will marinate it for 45 minutes. So this is the first thing you guys need to do when you get in. Then you place it into the bag. And you want to get as much air out of it as possible. So I'm going to leave a little hole here, get the marinade mixed in there. Really good, get it all in there. So just leave a little gap so it can breathe for a second till you get all the marinated in there. Once you've done that, then you're going to do what they call you're going to kind of vacuum seal it. So I'll show you how to do that. Then what you'll do is, again, you'll leave just a little area open here, just a little bit. And then you'll try to create a vacuum seal. So by doing that, you're just going to kind of release all the air. as much air as you can out of it. Just place it flat. Okay, right at the corner. There you go. And so it's kind of like a vacuum seal. As you can see, no air at all, hardly. And then just bring some more of that marinade in. And then you'll let it rest for 45 minutes. Okay, for the rice, I have half a cup of rice. You're going to add 1 cup of water. And then you're going to bring it to a boil. So when you're doing rice, in this case we're using a converted rice, so it's a 2-to-1 ratio, which means if I use 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of liquid. So we're going to get that turned on and bring it to a boil. Okay, once it comes to a boil, lower it down to a very low simmer. Remember, don't let it boil too long, otherwise the water evaporates. Put a lid on it, just like this, and then bake it in the oven for 350, cook it in the oven for 350, or leave it on the stove for 15 minutes, turn it off, and then let it sit for an additional 5 minutes on the stove. Okay, after 19 minutes, this is what the rice will look like, and you'll fluff it with a fork. Then you'll place it in the refrigerator or let it cool down in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes so you can do your stir-fried rice. Okay, for the egg roll, you'll need sesame seed oil, shredded cabbage, julienne carrots, mushrooms. We'll need 1.5 teaspoons of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Then you'll need your egg roll wrappers. We're going to use a spring roll wrapper. You could use a variety of vegetables. Your recipe is going to call for celery, but I'm going to use some green bell peppers, red onions in addition to it. So you want to go ahead and start with your carrots. Again, we're doing a julienne cut, roughly 1/8 inch by 2 inches in length. So what I like to do is I'll just kind of squirt them off. I'll still use these. So a nice julienne cut. Stack them as high as you want, as high as you can. Basically like that. Get your cabbage, shred as thin as you can get it. And you have your nice shredded cabbage. Then your bell pepper, this has already been cleaned. Take off the end and take off the ribs. And thin 1/8 inch cut. Onion, you'll use less than 1/4. Take off the core. Take off the outer leaf. And we'll go 3 here. Flatten it. Make sure you get all this off. Just like that. a nice good cut there. Then you got your mushrooms. Take out the stems. Mushrooms give it a nice meaty flavor, so this is what would be your meat flavor or your meat texture like you would get in pork for this. So you're going to do a mince on this, so you just give it a nice thin cut. And then just come back again. If you want to leave them large like this, you can. The recipe calls for chopped. So go back the other way. This will be what you're looking for. So this is what it'll look like, okay, for your spring roll. Finally, you're going to mix your cornstarch and your soy sauce together. This is going to be your binder. Mix it up really good. This is your slurry. And then your sesame seed oil is what you're going to saute your vegetables with. And that'll be our next step. Okay, in a saute pan, you're going to add your sesame seed oil and your vegetables. Get them all in there. Cabbage, carrots. Very important those are cut thin. Get those all incorporated. Again, you'll season it with salt and pepper to taste. So all you're really doing is just sweating them out, getting that oil mixed in. Just like that. Get it with a little salt. Black pepper, preferably fresh. Don't forget to taste it. Okay, once it gets to this point, now you're going to add your cornstarch slurry, your soy sauce and your cornstarch. Give it a quick mix. And this will thicken it up, bind it together. Then we'll just place it back into your pan and let it cool in the refrigeration. Lay it out flat. And let it cool. Okay, after it's cooled, you're going to wrap it in a wonton wrapper. I have a spring roll wrapper, but this basically the same way. With the spring roll, you have to kind of wet it down a little bit. Okay, and we'll fold it up just like that. Make sure you tuck in the ends. Okay, place them on your plate. Okay, get that. Place it in right around just inside the center area. Then you're going to roll it up like a tortilla, the ends, just like that. Hold it, tuck it in. Make sure you tuck in the sides. And then the seam side is down. And finally, you have your egg roll. Okay, again, I'm using a spring roll. And if you do wrap it correctly, then you can do it in the deep fryer. So we're going to do a shallow fry. Just like this, let it go for about 30 seconds or so at 350 degrees. Once you get that nice good brown color, then you can turn it around. And that's about where you want it. Just a nice golden brown color. Okay, next thing you want to do is you want to grill it. Take your meat out of the bag. Brush off any excess. Brush off any excess of the and then you'll season it with salt and pepper lightly. Remember there's a lot of soy sauce, so be careful, not too much on the salt and pepper. Just like that. You guys are going to actually use the little grill pans, so the same process. Just make sure you take off more of the oil. Just rub off most of it, because if there's too much oil, then it could flare up on you. So when you're going to get the nice grill markings, you go at a 45-degree angle. So you can see I have it going this way. Then I'm going to turn it around and go the other way, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to turn it around. Now anytime you're grilling outside, you want to always put it on another spot. So you really don't want to go on the same spot because it's not as hot. So we'll move it over on the other side here. And get this nice marking. Close in. Okay, and then you're just going to cook it to the desired doneness. Of course, more rare is going to be much more tender. And you do want to, once you remove it, let it rest for at least 5 minutes. Let those juices settle. Okay, so you want a nice, good grill marking on there. And place that in a pan, let it rest. Okay, for the stir-fried rice, I have the rice. Again, you want your rice to cool down. Once it cools down, then you can make the stir-fried rice. And to that, you'll add a carrot, you add some ham, some green peas. You're going to get an egg and you're going to scramble, or you can make an omelet from it. Soy sauce and sesame seed oil. First thing you want to do is go ahead and get your items prepped up, your veggie. You want to do a small dice on your carrots. Okay. Roughly about the same size as the peas, but probably a little bit smaller, because you want your rice, you want it to cook evenly. So, nice little dice here. Then you get your ham, you'll do the same thing. About the same size. Set it aside. You have your green onion that's been washed. Cut it in half this way. Or you can cut it on the bias at an angle. Whichever you prefer. Then we're going to cook the egg. Okay, next thing you're going to do, you're going to get an egg, crack it, and mix it up really good while your pan's going. Make sure you mix it really good, just like that. Make sure you break the whites so it doesn't do that, so you don't want it to. Lower your flame. So you can scramble it if you like, or you can attempt to make an omelet. So then you add just a little bit of the sesame seed oil. Put it all in there. Make sure that the oil's all around there so it doesn't stick. Place your egg in. Just like that, nice and thin. Okay. Bring them in. Like that. That's all you're going to do. Tear it off. Just like that. Make sure you get the whole egg. I'm just going to place it on a little parchment paper. Bring it over, roll it up, and cut it out. I like to cut it into little strips. Just like that. We'll set it aside. That'll go into your stir fry. Okay, the next step is to break your rice down a little bit because it has been chilled. It's going to stick a little. Okay. Then you're going to add the remainder of your sesame seed oil. Add all your ingredients, your carrots, your ham, and your green onions. And you just want to kind of get those carrots going. You want to get the ham cooked through. So let it go for a little bit, let that those carrots kind of cook through. That's all you really wanted to do. Then you're going to go ahead and add your rice. And typically if you did this in a wok, you would pull these up to the side and let those kind of hit. And then you add your rice into the center. Let that toast a little. Just let that go for a bit. The last thing you're going to put in there is going to be the peas, the soy sauce, and the egg. So just get your rice going. Remember, you use a nice good Teflon pan for this. And move it around. You don't want it to stick too much. Remember, you don't need to add any salt to this because you are going to add soy sauce. And we're going to add the soy sauce now. Then the peas. Add your peas. And then finally the egg. Mix it all around. And you got your stir-fried rice. Okay, and finally for the plate presentation. So when you guys do your flank steak, you want to make sure you cut it against the grain. So if you see the grain going one way, like this, in this case the grain is going this way, you're going to cut it the opposite direction. So we're going to slice this, and again you can go on the bias if you'd like. Just like that. We got a nice medium rare here. Slice it nice and thin. Just like that. We'll place that on the plate. Like so. Here. Just like that. So again, if you want it more well done, you can cook it well done. Get your rice. Place it on the plate. Okay, and then finally you'll get your egg roll. And you want to cut it on a bias, just like that. And then if you want to garnish it, you can hit it with a little garnish if you want. Something like this. And there you go.